Welcome to Report Vikings. Here you will find the latest news and rumors about the Minnesota Vikings. We always update you with information about transfers, drafts, injuries, behind-the-scenes news, and everything that involves the team. If you are a passionate fan and want to stay on top of everything, this is the right place. Turn on notifications and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any news. Now, let's get to today's news. Oh, I almost forgot. If you haven't left your like yet, then hit the like button. And now that you've enjoyed this video, let's get to today's news, because we have some big surprises coming this offseason. Minnesota Vikings make strategic move and trade for Sam Howell. As the 2025 NFL Draft approaches, the chess pieces are starting to move with more intensity. And one of those moves could have a significant impact on the Minnesota Vikings' future. Amid rumors and silent movements, the Seattle Seahawks finally opened the doors to what already seemed inevitable: the departure of Sam Howell. After bolstering the quarterback position with the additions of Sam Darnold and Drew Lock during free agency, it was clear that Howell would become the missing link in Seattle's new puzzle. And now, according to reporter Jeremy Fowler, the Seahawks are officially taking calls about a possible trade. And who emerges as a strong interested party? Of course, the Minnesota Vikings, a franchise that is going through a carefully orchestrated transition, and that knows that a competitive roster needs depth, especially at the game's most important position. The departure of Sam Darnold, who was a starter for much of last season, revealed a clear intention from the Vikings. The starting spot in 2025 belongs to J.J. McCarthy. The young quarterback, a high pick in the draft, is the new face of the franchise. However, relying entirely on a rookie fresh off a knee injury isn't just risky, it's reckless. Current backup Brett Rypien doesn't inspire complete confidence if he needs to take over at some point this season. And for a team that has real ambitions of competing in the playoffs, perhaps even more, relying exclusively on McCarthy would be Russian roulette. It is in this scenario that Sam Howell enters as a balancing piece. Despite not having a stellar start to his career, Howell showed flashes of real talent. In 2023, playing for the Washington Commanders, he threw for 3,145 yards and 21 touchdowns. Impressive numbers for a quarterback in his first season as a starter. The problem? He also committed 21 interceptions, a statistic that needs to be corrected. But in Minnesota, Howell would have something Washington lacked: a solid offensive system and a coach with a creative, QB-oriented mindset. Kevin O'Connell has already shown that he knows how to get the best out of quarterbacks who were discredited. Sam Darnold himself had a resurgence under his command. In this environment, it's reasonable to believe that Howell could evolve, polish his decisions, and become an extremely reliable backup, or even an eventual emergency starter, with the ability to keep the team competitive. From a financial and acquisition cost perspective, Howell is also a smart target. It is estimated that a 5th or 6th round pick would be enough to close the deal, a more than reasonable value for a young quarterback, with experience and who still has room to grow. While other names like Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, and Joe Flacco have been linked to the Vikings in recent weeks, Howell represents a more sustainable bet with less impact on the team's salary planning. It is not there to be Plan A, but rather to protect the team against unforeseen events. And in American football, these are more frequent than one would like. The 2025 season will be a watershed moment for the Vikings. The beginning of a new era with McCarthy in charge requires care, patience, and a balanced cast. The trade for Sam Howell shows that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the team's general manager, is thinking about every possible scenario. Rather than throwing everything at one name, the Vikings are building layers of protection. And Howell may be the most important of them. Ultimately, Sam Howell isn't a big-name signing, but he may be the Minnesota Vikings' smartest signing of the offseason. Vikings eyeing Tyrann. Mathieu, interest grows. Player admits desire to wear purple and gold. The NFL offseason market continues to heat up, and a possible trade is starting to gain more and more attention. According to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, a highly reliable source when it comes to behind-the-scenes information in the league, the Minnesota Vikings are showing strong interest in signing veteran safety Tyrann Mathieu, currently with the New Orleans Saints. Schefter revealed this week that preliminary talks have taken place between Vikings representatives and the players' agents, fueling rumors of a possible move that could shake up the NFC North in the coming weeks. The talks are in the early stages, but there is clear mutual interest between the parties, Adam Schefter said during an appearance on NFL Live. Mathieu has always been a high-impact defensive player, and the Vikings believe he can still be a key piece to strengthen the secondary, especially as Brian Flores rebuilds his defense. Known for his intensity on the field and his tactical intelligence, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, did not shy away from questions when asked about the Vikings' possible interest. In an exclusive interview with CBS Sports journalist Josina Anderson, he admitted that playing in Minnesota is something that has crossed his mind, and that the timing might be the best. "Man, I always admired that crowd there in Minneapolis. The energy at US Bank Stadium is different, you know," commented Mathieu. "I've been following the Vikings since Harrison Smith's peak. It would be an honor to play alongside him, if he's still there, or even be part of this new defensive era." According to sources close to the player, Mathieu has been in contact with some of the franchise's players, including linebacker Jordan Hicks and Harrison Smith himself, who is reportedly acting as a sort of informal recruiter. "Behind the scenes, Tyrann is a natural leader. I've talked to him a few times, and he's the type of guy who comes in and raises the bar for everyone around him," Smith told the Purple Insider podcast. "If he came here, I guarantee our defense would have an even more aggressive and intelligent identity." After a season marked by ups and downs, the Vikings entered 2025 with clear goals: to strengthen the defense and build a solid foundation for the coming years. The arrival of Brian Flores as defensive coordinator has already shown signs of important tactical changes, and a versatile safety like Mathieu could be a key piece in this new scheme. Mathieu is more than a traditional free safety or strong safety, Schefter said. "He's a hybrid. He can line up as a nickel, blitz, cover tight ends. He's a defensive all-rounder. That's exactly what Flores is looking for." Despite being 32 years old, Mathieu had a solid season with the Saints in 2024, accumulating 74 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. His leadership was also highlighted as vital within the locker room in New Orleans, which only increases his value on teams with a young defense like the Vikings. Of course, as with any major negotiation, there are obstacles. Mathieu's contract with the Saints still has clauses that would require a restructuring or a friendly release. However, there are indications that both parties would be open to dialogue. If the Saints want to free up cap space and start a deeper renewal, this could be a good opportunity, speculates Schefter. And for Mathieu, it would be the chance to end his career on a competitive team, in a conference that is on the rise. In Schefter's addition, the environment factor may weigh in. Mathieu himself admitted that the Minnesota climate is something that attracts him, not only meteorologically, but mainly because of the culture of the franchise. "I like franchises with a tradition, a passionate fan base, and a committed coaching staff. The Vikings have that. You can feel it even watching from afar," the player said. With the 2025 draft approaching, the Vikings are expected to continue their research, but their interest in Mathieu doesn't seem to be a flash in the pan. Inside sources indicate that the team may try to formally negotiate with the Saints if they are unable to fill the safety position via the draft. The move also resonated among fans on social media. On X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like "Your Honey Badger to Minnesota" and "Vikings Defense" began to appear among local trending topics, indicating that the Scandinavian faithful are already dreaming of Mathieu. wearing the purple and gold. Tyrann Mathieu joining the Vikings is not just a rumor. It is a real possibility, with multiple factors playing in its favor. With Adam Schefter's endorsement, open statements from the player himself, and the clear need for defensive leadership in Minnesota, the fit seems almost natural. The question now is, will the Vikings act quickly enough before another team enters the fray? And would the Saints be ready to let go of one of their defensive pillars? As always, in the NFL off-field game, every detail can change everything. And as Mathieu himself said, with an enigmatic smile at the end of his interview, "The off-season is full of surprises, right? Who knows what's coming?"